Another day, another Indian dominance that you've seen in Edgbaston. I mean, when the England bowlers were bowling, it seemed the pitch was as dead as a dodo. But then India with the new ball capitalized in the third over. Akash Deep, the hero of the day when you look at the bowling performance so far. 2 wickets of Ben Duckett and Ollie Pope, almost on a hat-trick at that stage in time, but he just missed out. Mohammad Siraj tried and maintained pressure at the other end for the first 5-6 overs. He was really doing a good job. Got the wicket of Zach Crawley, a sharp catch from Karun Nair. The catching in the slip cordon was really good. Gill taking a good catch, tumbling to his left. KL Rahul, a juggle, but he managed to take the catch. Karun Nair, a sharp catch as the ball flew off the edge. But since then, Harry Brook and Joe Root have managed to kind of stabilize the innings. But then they're still a long, long way away. 77 for 3, 510 runs. Let's begin with the man of the moment who has put India in a very, very good position in Edgbaston. We are all saying, oh, it won't be done, it won't be done. But Akash Deep, what a spell that was. I mean, he troubled England the most with 2 wickets. He's now, how many? Just go down, Pawan. Yeah, 7 overs, 2 for 36. Went for runs, but doesn't matter. Got the wickets. Siraj, 1 for 21. Showed far better control. And then you're going to see the rest of the bowlers who hopefully will have to step up on day 3. But gentlemen, out and out today, India's day, beginning with Akash Deep. What a spell.
I don't know if you guys realized it or not, but I thought that it was seeming a very little bit. I thought that the English batters, I remember that home series, it was Mukesh Kumar in that series who got that beating. I think that is how the England batters came out today. They would have thought about going after an Akash Deep, and in that sense I thought it was nipping a very little bit off the wicket. I think very slight movement when you need that much to sort of disturb the batters, and when they tried to play him on the line of the ball, just trying and putting their bat on the line and playing him, that is where they gave wickets to Akash Deep. So I think that, and he hit the really hard lengths in that sense. So I think that was a very, very good bowling performance by Akash Deep. Because again, like I'm pretty sure when that dressing room would have sat down inside coming in during the midpoint, they would have thought that we have to go after a specific set of bowlers, and Akash Deep would have been on that list. And in an attempt, and Akash Deep bowling those hard lengths, I think he got that success. He definitely went for runs as well. I think that's how the English batters will be facing Akash Deep, but because of that he will get successful and lucky. Not just lucky, but he will get successful and pick those wickets like he did today, and absolutely took this test match to a completely different turn at this point of time in that sense. Now suddenly India will start to believe that okay, they might just have a chance to go and in fact get England out twice in the number of runs that they have already scored.
What do you think, Harshit, about Akash Deep? Has he turned the test, or do you think miles to go still?
See, there's definitely a lot of time still left in this test match, Siddharth. What is it that went wrong with the England batters? We will talk about that in just a bit. But speaking of whether this has completely changed the complexion of the match, I'd still like to reserve my thoughts. I think there's a fair distance to go in this test match. Tomorrow, how England come out to bat is going to be interesting. But what his burst has definitely done for India is it has offered a bit of an opening. If I was looking at there being a dark tunnel for this test match overall, now I could see some sort of hope that there could be a result per se, but it's just a ray at the moment. There's still, you'll need more than 2 innings and a quarter of another innings for it to unfold, for us to arrive at a result of this test match. So there's still a lot of time left, but that was a very good spell, I must say, from Akash Deep. Lost his line at times, was guilty of bowling a little full, I think, on a couple of occasions.
Bowled too much on the leg stump.
On the leg stump, and this obviously had to happen because of what had happened prior to us going live.
It's
but
done.
Anyway, I think you need to lock that, Siddharth. Yeah.
I think it's locked.
Okay. So anyway, it was a very good spell. Let's make no mistake. Is it suddenly swinging? Perhaps not, but I think there's a definite hint of seam movement that can be extracted, which is what you saw in the case of the first 2 dismissals. Not the third per se, but definitely the dismissal of Duckett and Pope, that time you saw the there be a little bit of seam movement with Crawley. I thought
Duckett in that sense took it. I think he was just taking him a little too lightly. It was a little casual approach to the shot that
just poked at it.
Yeah, he just poked it, and I think that is when I realized that it is steaming a very little
just
bit.
A hint.
Yeah, just a hint. But that was because, see, otherwise if it would not have. It might have just hit the middle of the bat and gone for a boundary. And he was playing really away from his body, and that is what you can sort of afford to do on a wicket that is so flat. But I think that is where that little bit movement that helped Akash Deep, and he got that wicket. Just look at that. He was just trying to play that on the up, bend Duckett.
There's one commonality between his dismissal and that of Zach Crawley. No feet movement at all. Feet movement, rooted to the ground, not an inch do the two batters move, and all they've done is poked. And we oftentimes have seen how that's a big mistake. At least in the case of Olipop, he was sort of, he squared himself up because of that hint of movement. But otherwise, you see Crawley and Duckett both very guilty of having their feet rooted to the ground.
No control, essentially.
Yeah, no control at all. Far away from what we saw from Shubman Gill, who was, I think, just around 93% in control of those 269 runs that we saw from him. So yeah, just to get back to the point, Siddharth, that you made, has this completely changed the complexion of the match? Perhaps not. England still have a fair bit of batting and a tail that can wag. So in these flat conditions, I see them getting runs over here. Not an ideal session for them, but they still managed, at the loss of 3 wickets, they managed 77 runs, which is not too bad for a side that lost 3 of its top batters.
I mean, see, Akash Deep was a very interesting factor in this whole session. Why? The choice of those 2 new Dukes balls were given to Akash Deep. He chose it. And if you look at the nature of, say, how did England achieve their first dismissals? One from that good length area, back of a length, it rose up, KL Rahul under-edged it. Karun Nair also got a rip of a delivery. I mean, he had to fend at it and the catch was taken at slip. Here, back of a length, it wasn't a short of a length. Akash Deep, because of the way how he manages to skid the ball through, he got Duckett to poke at it, stab at the ball, not poke, stabbed at it with an angled bat. And then from that back of a length, because it skidded through at an angle, around the wicket.
Duckett was in a way trying to play it on the up and hit it. Yeah. You remember the kind of shots Shubman Gill was playing of Harry Brook?
Yeah.
The kind of shots he was playing on the up, two straight drives that Shubman Gill hit. I think Duckett was sort of trying to play a very similar shot to that. Just that firstly, yeah, you're right, it angled a little bit and also it seemed a little bit outside.
But
so that went against him.
What the England bowlers were guilty of, and this is where their inexperience came, they were too short. And no one had the patience to ensure, okay, we ride out this spell. This is where Bass ball, if it grows brains, they would have actually had to negotiate that period. This isn't Leeds, where it was far truer. But even in Leeds, they lost a couple of wickets. It was the tail that dragged them through. Here, you've got the 2 batters, one who can chance his arm, but you've got another who's a masterclass in adapting to the situation in Joe Root. He showed you the way. If you hang in there, show the amount of control that a Shubman Gill can do, you can hang in and score runs quickly also. Harry Brook, the audaciousness with which he made room and lofted Mohammad Siraj over wide long off, that signaled his intention that, okay, you have to get rid of him in the first 10-12 balls.
See, and it's for that reason good that you remind us of that shot, Siddharth. It was a T20 stroke. Let's make no mistake. It was a T20 stroke. The way he made room and he cleared the boundary at long off. So there was a very, very good stroke. But what that tells me is, you can hit through the line. Once you have your eye in, you can hit through the line. And that's exactly what we saw from Shubman Gill as well. He took his time. He wanted to spend time in the middle. It's not like you need a lot of time to get used to the conditions. But as they say for good batters, you spend time, the confidence grows. And that's what you will see. That's what my expectation from a Joe Root is as well. You just have to punish the odd ball. That's it. Just here and there, you want want to take a bit of risk, play cross-batted shots, play across the line, you can afford to do that as well. It is that good a wicket to bat on, and Harry Brook showed us that there are runs that can be scored. With the other two, as we spoke, I think England will be guilty of giving their wickets away. Credit where credit's due. Yes, the Indian bowlers were able to extract a little more from the wicket than the English bowlers did. But overall, there's still, I think, runs to be scored from England.
I think that's the that's the thin line that we often talk about, being bizarre and being a little calculative about the baseball approach in general. I think those two dismissals were really, really casual. And I expect that from England batters more often than not. Whenever they have so many runs on the board, they just come out thinking that we have to go all guns blazing. But in Test cricket, you cannot be doing that. You need to apply yourself a little bit so as to sort of cash on that later on. And England, the openers, Crawley and Ben Duckett, both of them, seemed like that they've come out to score runs at a run rate of about 10-12 runs per over. That is not what they needed. They could have sort of took a little bit time and then started to hit those shots, because as soon as you get a little bit set in, that little bit of movement, even if the odd ball is swinging, not even swinging, seaming a little bit, you can sort of time it in a much better way. So I think that is something that they are guilty of. But as soon as they realize that, I think run scoring will get easier for them as well. But these 3 wickets would definitely put immense pressure on the England batting lineup. Although Joe Root, Ben Stokes, these are the kind of players who would be realizing this fact that they just one person needs to play a knock like Shubman Gill to just even everything out. But so they have that capability, but they need to apply themselves and not go bizarre in this approach called as baseball.
But Akash Deep has given the Indian bowlers a clear message. Pitch it a bit fuller. That is what England could not do on days 1 and 2.
But was Akash Deep bowling full? I think he was hitting the right length.
The Ollie Pope dismissal. Full. I mean,
Ollie Pope also wasn't full in that sense, because if it would have been full, he would have easily flicked it.
You know what was he angled it on a good length on middle and leg. He got it to straighten a bit. So that's why Pope tried to hit it to the onside, but then he got the edge.
I think he wasn't full, he wasn't short, he was hitting the perfect length since his first over.
And then he was aided with that little bit of seam movement that he got.
Seam movement.
And that was also off the pitch.
This batch of balls that he picked did the trick for India in a big way. So that's why Akash Deep, when you have to look at it,
there's a lot being said about this particular ball set as well. They're saying that this is, and I remember, as I was pointing out earlier as well, even Rishabh Pant said it yesterday, that the ball's getting soft. Rahul also saying that the ball's getting softer earlier than a usual Duke's ball would get. So so what that tells me is get runs while the ball's still hard, because otherwise things are going to get hard for you.
The problem is there has been a problem with the Duke's ball ever since 2022 in England.
When they changed something changed in that.
Something changed. The manufacturer
during the Ashes.
Either the manufacturer changed the way how the Duke's
I remember there was this whole story about this where they had made a few changes to the Duke's ball. I remember
they
extra lacquer was added or something like
4 years back, I think they had either one extra layer of lacquer which reduced the stitching, which reduced the thickness of the stitching, and it's going soft even quicker. So it's like how the Kookaburra is. Kookaburra, at that time, they decided, okay, first 15-20 overs, it will swing, seam and do all those things. But then after that, once the Kookaburra was plugged, until 20 to 80, you just couldn't have any kind of impact with the ball. But then now, Australia have changed the pitch altogether to get more assistance from the Kookaburra.
They also added lacquer heading into
They added
PGT.
extra layer of lacquer in that also. So, whatever it is, the kind of pitches that England have employed and the way how the bowlers... I thought Shubman Gill was a bit guilty of giving an extended spell to Akash Deep and Mohammad Siraj. 7 straight overs. I think that is one thing that he may have to avoid tomorrow.
But who will bowl apart from that?
Then you have to give extended spell to Prasidh and Nitish.
Nitish Reddy, you again know how many overs. Today also, just 1 over, he's bowled 1 over. But I think it's just
If you do it, see, your ideal bowling combination now for Lords, if India managed to win this, it should be Bumrah, Akash Deep and Siraj. It can't be Prasidh anymore. Nitish, you're looking at him as a batter. You're not looking at him as a bowler.
So basically, you're playing 4 bowlers.
I mean,
Then
you can get a
that
Jaddu
logic.
in or replace him with a Kuldeep, but then you can't remove Jaddu because he's done so well with the bat. But coming back to Akash Deep, I think his workload will also have to be monitored tomorrow. Otherwise, if his effectiveness reduces, remember, this is not a 10-wicket match. You have to take 20 wickets also. And this pitch, I don't think will deteriorate quickly. So the lesson that all the Indian bowlers have to take is bowl the right lengths. Good length, back of a length. Not too short, not too full. Because when Akash bowled it full, he was hit on the onside. And he was driven down the ground.
But could India have asked for anything more in this last hour and a half of play that we saw?
I think India are surplus to the requirement. I mean, honestly, because taking 3 wickets, I said 90 for 2. Would England be happy? No. But they are 77 for 3. They'll definitely not be happy. Yesterday we are wondering, which team will be far happier? No team will be too happy. No team will be too sad. But here, I think today England will feel the pressure today.
So fair to say it's a day dominated by India. All 3 sessions
Yeah,
actually
clear. I
belong
think
to India.
more than
in
the
that
wicket, I
case.
think wickets might not be affecting the England team that much. I think it's also the runs, just getting 77 odd in the last 20 overs. I think that also could be a shocker. If not a shocker in that sense, but definitely something that they would not have been expecting. They would have expected 100 runs at least for the loss of 2 wickets. So they're basically 30 runs short and a wicket extra. So in that sense, they would be under tremendous pressure today. They will have to be. See, it can still end up as a draw. If they end up batting tomorrow the whole day, then more often than not, it is going to end as a draw.
Yeah. And they bat deep also until maybe Bryden Cars, Josh Tongue, even they also can hang in. Vokes, better batter than a bowler, I mean.
This gets a lot of spice and entertainment if India end up batting again tomorrow.
Then
India will be batting with it will be a plum lead.
You know what could change? The overhead conditions. If that happens, then I think England are in serious trouble. Okay, 4th innings, the total, if they have to chase, whatever it may be, I think it'll be far higher than Leeds. And but will India enforce a follow on also if you have to look at that? We'll see, but we are taking ourselves too far ahead. We are thinking at that point that, okay, maybe it could happen. Who knows? Root, Brook, Stokes, Smith, all chip in as a team and ensure you don't have to enforce a follow, bat the whole day, get to 400, 450. So we don't know at this time. But today, if Akash Deep has given you some hope, the platform of that hope was laid by Shubman Gill. I mean, 269, and the last time a 269 drew that much of a response was #269 signing off. And Virat Kohli, it's an apt tribute. He was capped number 269 for India. Shubman Gill missed out on a lot of records, but yes, he still gotten huge records. So here is the records list. Highest by an Indian outside of Asia. Highest by an Indian in Edgbaston and in England. And now it is the second time an Indian captain has managed to hit a double century away from India, in Asia, away from Asia.
First instance of an Indian captain hitting a double century in
England,
and
the highest ever.
And the third highest total by a visiting batter at Edgbaston.
Yes, behind Graham Smith, 277, Zaheer Abbas, 274. And now Shubman Gill.
And now, since 241 is also another number which Indian cricketers know very well, this has gone better than 241 in terms of it being the highest total by an Indian batter away from home.
Away from home. Indeed, it is away from Asia.
Away from Asia.
Yeah. Sachin Tendulkar, 241 at Sydney, 2004. Today, Shubman Gill, 269. We have waxed lyrical for 1.5 days now, 2 days now on Shubman Gill. Very unlucky to have not gotten a triple century. He deserved a triple, but
see, there's not too much to nitpick on when a batter ends with a control rate of about 93 odd percent, 94%. If that's the kind of control you have, there's hardly a fault or two that you can point out. And let's not get into the dismissal. The job was done by Shubman Gill, the batter. He just ended up finding the fielder there. But let's try and pick the one thing from this innings that we will remember, and we can start from Shashwat. We've seen so many tremendous innings. We talked about 241. We've seen a great century just a couple of years back here at this particular venue only. Two of those players are still playing. We saw one from Jadeja, we saw from Pant as well. Virat Kohli has gotten a century over here at this particular venue. So there's so many beautiful centuries that we've seen. But when we look at this special knock of 269 from Shubman Gill, what is that one thing that for us will stand out when we look at this innings of his?
Okay, so you spoke about 241. In that 241, there was not a single cover drive that Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar hit in Sydney. Here, 93% control. The control with which Shubman Gill managed, I think the one false stroke that he played actually resulted in his dismissal.
Was it a ball stroke?
I mean, a short arm pull.
Yeah.
If you have to look at it, it was a very odd way to get out. That short arm jab has helped him well.
Yeah.
But I think he found the fielder there.
But still in control of the shot, no?
But still, when you find the fielder, it's not in total control. Na? When you pierce the gap, you know what is total control in cricket? When you hit a shot, it is right in the middle of the bat. It's not found the fielder. And you are in total control of it. But here you found the fielder. Lapse in concentration, maybe. That one lapse in concentration saw him being dismissed for 269. But apart from that, the discipline outside of waiting for his moments, 387 deliveries faced, right to the pitch of the ball, front foot, not leaving a gap for the inside edge or the in cutter, outside, batting outside the crease, negating the swing. When the ball was in the slot, whack it. Patience and attack. Slowly from 40 strike rate to 50 strike rate, increase it to 60 and then increase it to 70. That's what the control did. 93% control. That is the one hallmark of Shubman Gill's knocks that I will remember today. That's the bottom line. 93% control. 120 plus 18, 138 of his 269 runs only in boundaries. But 131 in singles and doubles and triples also.
And running someone else's runs as well.
Exactly.
He was involved in two big partnerships also. Yes.
Ravindra Jadeja, 200 plus partnership. Washington Sundar, fantastic partnership of over 100. 587. And if you have to look at it, no team has ever lost when they posted 587 in Edgbaston.
Wow. Sashwat, for you?
I think the celebration said it all. The celebration that he did after getting his century, you know, that that aggression, that giving that answer out to everybody is very evident on his face when he's celebrating. Usually Shubman Gill, I know we have seen him getting that emotions out during he's on the field as a captain, but very less. I don't remember any occasion particularly all throughout Shubman Gill's career where I've seen Shubman Gill being so animated after getting a century or after getting a half century. He's been really expressive with his emotions on the field while being the captain of Gujarat Titans and now of India. But after batting, we've always seen a very subtle celebration from him. But today, not just today, even during the previous test match when he got that century, on both occasions, today in particular, it looked really animated and it looked like a statement. Because see, again, I just go back to the fact that there were too many question marks over Shubman Gill, the batter, in these conditions. There were no signs to prove that Shubman Gill has gotten those runs overseas. The team management definitely showed faith in him. The yardstick was very different for Shubman Gill all throughout his career that he's played for Indian cricket. He got to bat at 3. He has opened. He is now playing at number 4. But him to firstly, him coming at number 4, I don't think in this room lots of people were of the opinion that he should be coming at number 4. Not just in this room. I'm assuming, and I know this for a fact, that this was a divided opinion all throughout cricketing circles. So those were the answers that Shubman Gill had to give, and that celebration in a way was an answer to lots of people in that sense. Now I don't know if that's an answer to the people that he's giving it to, or it was an answer that he needed for himself, but that clearly showed that what these 2 centuries clearly meant to him. Again, I remember those stuns that Virat Kohli got in Adelaide back in 2014 when he got that century, and I just kind of do go back to that whenever I see Shubman Gill playing in this test series.
For me, what I'll remember this Shubman inning is going to be for what was being said for him once the time that he had arrived to the cricketing scene. He came in as this boy from Punjab who came in with the reputation of scoring big runs. that momentarily went missing when he progressed to international cricket. He was always amongst the runs. Remember, he's got a double century in ODI cricket as well. People tend to forget he's one of the few Indian batters. But for a while now, it was forgotten. And this comes at a time where we were talking about how daddy hundreds are missing in Indian cricket. Barring a Yashasvi Jaiswal, you haven't really seen daddy hundreds being scored. Forget double hundreds, even again besides the Yashasvi, you haven't seen double hundreds be scored as well in recent times. So for Shubman Gill and in this particular innings, it reminds me of the fact that it's the same guy, he's still 25 only, who once he arrived at the under 19 stage and was named the vice captain of the side, had already built that reputation of scoring big runs in domestic cricket. So this firstly was a reminder to me of that Shubman Gill who has the hunger for big runs. He's shown to the world that not only does he have the appetite for it, he's got the skill and the patience as well that it takes to score such big runs. The other, since I used the word patience, takes me to the other point that I will remember of his innings, is the way that he progressed. While it was a batting track on day one as well, there were others. There was a Yashasvi, there was a Jadeja who was showing good form around him, and he knew that these were good batting conditions. Shubman Gill was happy to bide his time, and from the way that he got to his 100 to the time that he moved to 269, his strike rate kept improving. He was okay batting at 45-50 strike rate when he got to his 100. Then it improved to 51. Then from 51 it moved to 57 come the end of first session on day 2, and by the end of the second session we'd seen him then progress and end at a strike rate of about 70. So that tells you that he really has multiple gears to his test game as well. You often see batters operate in the same gear. Virender Sehwag, if you would go to those big totals, would operate in the same gear. Seldom would you see him shift gears. So this is what I liked about Shubman Gill and this rather special knock that we're going to be talking about for a long time to come.
Yep. So Shubman Gill, before I come to the other part, has he silenced his critics that he can't bat outside of Asia? Or do you think he needs far more knocks in challenging conditions?
He needs, see again, no, Sridvi sir, see, I'll tell you what the thing is. The whole point of this is that, see, with Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, we saw all throughout their career, more often than not, as soon as the ball started to swing, they sort of did not have answers to that.
Except Kohli.
Even Virat Kohli for that matter.
Or later on.
No. At the beginning it was the ball going away. Later on it was the ball coming in. So it was all throughout.
He managed to overcome that for a middle period.
No.
For a brief period.
No,
Yes,
it's at the end of the day, it started to get about the fact that he found other ways to score runs. You know, he was never that comfortable on the ball coming in or the ball that was leaving him. His career started with the problem of the fact that the ball used to leave him away on the off stump, third stump, fourth stump, and in between it was the ball that was coming in, and then by the time the career came to an end, it was about again the ball going outside. So at the end of the day, like with Sachin Tendulkar, we talked about this fact that there was this whole innings where he did not play a shot on the offside. What this tells me about great players, maybe Shubman Gill, the problem with him of the ball coming inside will continue to trouble him on many other days to come. But one thing that will make him different from everybody else is that when there was an opportunity, he made it count, and he made it count the way he did it right now. What in the years to come might differentiate him from other great players of this generation could be these kind of knocks, that on good days how he has really translated that. And all of that just gets me back to the fact about one thing that lots of people talk about Shubman Gill's career as a youngster as well, and even today, now that he's played for India, he's captaining India, are his work ethics. And I feel that is something that differentiates him from all the others. So 10 years down the line, maybe or Yashasvi Jaiswal or the Fab Four or Rachin Ravindra, all these players who we talk about being the next Fab Four have better records than Shubman Gill. But why Shubman Gill will be different? Because despite the weakness that he has, and the weakness he might be having moving ahead as well, the incoming delivery, he will continue to achieve greatness. And that is where I think that will differentiate. So I'm not going to say that he is in a way silenced or made it a point now that we cannot say that he cannot score runs overseas. But even with that flaw, he can continue and win a lot of games for the Indian cricket team. Because today in this test match, previous test match, the conditions weren't challenging. He made sure that he is the batter who is better than the others. So that is something that differentiates him. And I think moving going ahead. That is something that why he could become a once in a generational talent in the years to come, in the next 10, 15, 20 years, however long he plays.
For me, Siddharth, the way I look at this innings, and when you look at it from the lens of all that criticism that he faced, or the question marks that were in front of Shubman Gill, I'd say that, see, tougher tests are definitely in the offing. Has he faced the toughest 2 tests yet? Not quite. Why I say that, and I'm not trying to discredit him over here. Neither do I think was Shashwat trying to do that. But my point being that when you're scoring a double 100, there were 2 other batters who came close to 100. There's another English batting lineup, whole of it, that is yet to play. There's a Joe Root over there who's got 36 test tons. Let's see how he goes ahead and bats. In the first test match, there were 5 centuries in all. So besides you, there were 3 other centurions in the team. So that tells me that these runs are coming at times where there are runs to be scored. I'll be interested to see why is that 241 so special, or why was Virat's 149 so special at Edgbaston? Because when you're not getting support from the others, when you're the only one grinding it out, why are the twin tons in Adelaide so special about Virat Kohli? Because that was also a time he wasn't getting a lot of support from the others. So how is it in those challenging conditions where the ball really swings, where you really have to, why are the 2 tons of KL Rahul at Centurion still so celebrated? They're celebrated because nobody else got runs, barring a Virat Kohli who displayed grit but wasn't able to convert that into the kind of big score that we saw from KL Rahul. These knocks stand out because they came in conditions where no one else was getting runs. So will Shubman Gill be able to come up with runs when nobody else is getting runs? I think that is what I'm waiting to see.
I think Shubman... See, it's not his fault that these kind of conditions have been presented in England.
Yeah.
Okay, England changed their philosophy 4 years ago, and that is where I think you have to make sure that, okay, there is a certain way how you approach whatever conditions you get, you capitalize on it. He's capitalized on 2 in England, but yes, the criticisms will remain because, barring England, he's not done well in South Africa. He's not done well in Australia. He's not gotten a chance in New Zealand, which he will get in October, November of 2026, when India go there for a 2-test series there. So, yes, it is a long way, but you cannot silence the detractors. You cannot silence them all, because when a Kohli couldn't escape criticism, how can a Shubman Gill escape criticism after 2 knocks? In rather, you may say, placid conditions.
But Sidvi sir, what I was also trying to say is that no batter is flawless. Even Sachin Tendulkar, till the time he retired, he's considered to be god of cricket. He also had weaknesses in his batting, and so did Virat Kohli. It's always going to be about how good you are on your good days. That is what makes you a very big player. That is what made Virat Kohli a very good player. That is what would have made Sachin Tendulkar a very good player. And I think that is what will make Shubman Gill a very good player.
See,
as well.
for Sachin...
I still feel that as soon as the ball starts to swing, I see Shubman Gill a very different batter in those conditions. Yeah. But till the time he can leave an impact and he's the captain, he will make sure that he's the best batter.
See, for example, Sachin kind of cut out that, okay, he's not in good form during Sydney, 2004. Kohli silenced it for a brief while by Edgbaston 2018. So that the notion that he can't play swing was dispelled in that particular test match, where Anderson was at his absolute peak, Broad and Stokes were at their absolute peak. So I think he did decently well. But then coming to the final point before we take some questions, on Washington Sundar and Ravindra Jadeja. Just to open the scorecard, Pawan, I just want to look at that. So, they batted in what position? Number 7 and number 8, right? Going forward, looking at we will analyze their contributions with the ball, okay? But Ravindra Jadeja, Washington Sundar have done well with the bat. Going forward, if India go into this match and they win it and they head into Lords.
They win it or they draw it?
Let's say they win it. From the position where we are at this point, you would have to say that India are slight favourites in this. Do you think that this is a false sense of illusion that this kind of a batting setup, batting lineup is going to work in any condition? Or do you think if they don't do well with the ball, if one doesn't get that many overs, you will drop one of them going ahead? Because do you all agree that they've done their bit with the bat?
Who?
Yeah.
Both Jadeja and Sundar, have they done their bit with the bat?
Yeah, Jadeja, see, anyways, he was supposed to play.
Sundar?
See, again, Sundar and Sai Sudarshan, how much of a difference will it make? Can Washington Sundar hit a century on number 8? No. But Sai Sudarshan, can
Although he did come close. 96 he had it against England in Ahmedabad, but he didn't get support.
Yeah, no. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm never a firm believer of this fact that you get in a Washington Sundar in place of a Sai Sudarshan.
True, that is the thing. But then, for the moment, he's scored more than what Sudarshan achieved in 2 innings.
If we
Okay,
say then 1-1 inning, if we
Just
speak in
pointing
that
out.
sense, then he even got more runs than a KL Rahul. But that again, it
But
cannot
again,
be different.
But KL at least has 100 at the top. First innings, the second innings leads, he did score 100. But then, if Washington Sundar and Ravindra Jadeja will bowl more overs. If Sundar doesn't bowl that many overs, then if he does well with the bat, are you axing him? Or do you think 8 batters to just kind of weaken the bowling? It may work in Edgbaston this time, but will it work every single time?
I think, Siddharth, what this innings has done for you is it for me, I don't see India making changes now.
It's only deepened the confusion.
Yeah.
Or maybe get a Bumrah
I'm
in.
saying Washington Sundar has given you 42 runs. Okay, if you would have played a Kuldeep, maybe runs would have been 30 less, but wicket taking ability would have been tripled.
But that's what I'm saying. Why I say that is why I don't see it changing now because of that 42. I think it just about does the job that you wanted, or it just about fulfills the purpose you had in mind. You wanted somebody with better batting abilities, or somebody with let's say decent batting ability at batting at number 8 for India. With Washington Sundar, you get that a bit more than anyone else in contention. So that was my purpose, and to a large extent with that 42 it stands fulfilled. Of course it would have been better if it had been 50, 55 or 60 runs, then it makes then it adds more conviction, but you take this 42 as well, because now if you look at the last 6 wickets, they will paint a different image altogether from what you saw in Leeds. Now you have in excess of 150 runs. Not 150, 140 runs.
You got 131 runs.
Last 6 I'm saying.
Last 6.
Shubman Gill.
No, from Nitish Reddy. Nitish Reddy onwards, right?
You go all the way up from Prasidh, no?
Okay, Prasidh,
Because
13,
that's what happened.
Yeah, 13, 19, then you got 150, 151.
Yeah. So and what was my purpose of changing the whole thing up? My whole purpose was that I get more runs at the bottom, and overall I get more batting cushion. It's served
But
both those
by that
purposes.
you'll score 600, 700 runs, but you won't win a test match. And the whole point of doing that is to win a test match.
I totally
And
agree
this
with you.
Just
I would
what you've
not have-
done.
I would
now
not
this
have gone
test
with
match
this
also
11.
you've batted twice. You've scored 600, close to 600 runs. You'll end up as a draw. Now whole 5 matches you'll end up.
I totally agree
do
with you.
that.
This is not the side that made sense to me as well, because while the side can score you more runs, you've harped on the fact that you want to pick 20 wickets. I don't see this side picking
Then
20
you
wickets.
start playing Dhruv
especially
Jurel
on
in place of
these
Akash
wickets.
Deep.
Sorry?
Then you can bat people till bat 11. You can score 1,000 runs, play for 4 days,
course.
and end test matches. as
You'll
draw.
be playing the
But
same
that's
kind
not
of
the
cricket
logic,
than
no?
what England want to play. Just pile on runs, but what England have is some sort of balance. India lose that balance because India need to protect their tail. And India can't strike that balance because you don't have that batter like a Stokes per se, or a Chris Vokes per se, decent, very good with the ball, and able batters as well. That is what goes missing in India's case. So those 2 batters with all-round ability, or the 2 players with all-round ability that England have, India don't have. And this is where you've gone ahead and picked 2 players who don't give you 100% of both disciplines. You've gone with a Sundar, and you've gone ahead with a Nitish Kumar Reddy.
Nitish Reddy. But then what if? You are saying that they may not be able to take 20 wickets. What if they do take 20 wickets?
No, it's going to be very good, of course.
Who will
they
take?
do
I'm
that.
asked. Who in this bowling
but
lineup?
Siddharth, my point being, even if they manage to do, is your second best bowler of this squad playing right now?
No.
Then
You're not playing two of your match winners.
And does that enhance your wicket taking ability or not? 20 wickets is not. You may get those 20 wickets. Okay, I give it to you that you take those 20 wickets even with this bowling lineup. But then, will India as a unit then be having the same strike rate? The strike rate completely changes the moment you add a Kuldeep Yadav in the mix. Does that not proportionately make a difference to the number of runs that the opposition will score as well? This is how matches are played. I can take the whole day to bundle out the side, but if I do it in a session less or in 20 overs less, and that is the job of a Kuldeep Yadav and a specialist bowler to be doing, that makes a difference. Those 30-40 runs make a difference. Those 30-40 runs could have made a difference in
or
the
an
first...
hour
Exactly.
or 2 hours. Because see, this is where I think, okay, you had a good start, 3 wickets, but then can you take 17 wickets in the entire course of the game? This combination will only have some flickering of light before it extinguishes totally if you win Edgbaston. But if you don't, and you continue to insist, oh, we need more depth in the batting, and you've left out 2 of your bona fide match winners.
So that isn't it the 7th time we are seeing in recent months that you need extra batting?
Yeah. You've lost all 7.
This lack of faith in the top order, middle order has resulted in you shifting the whole, you just shuffling the whole thing up completely.
Because I will tell you why. There will be a lot of people today who will be backing Washington Sundar's inclusion, because a Shardul Thakur couldn't do that. A Nitish may have failed, but a Washington gave you buffer. Which is why I asked this particular question, that has he done enough?
Should we say Dhruv Jurel will give you even more buffer, so that doesn't mean you can bat Dhruv Jurel at 8, right?
So Pant should be axed then, if that is the case, because he comes in as a replacement of Pant, nothing else. So let's take some comments at this point in time. Ashish, they're saying India test batters at number 4 position get that particular logo on the bat. I mean, yes, for 40 years we have seen it from Sachin.
You can be an opener as well, you get it, but then you have to give it back as well.
You have to give it back as well. Yes. From Sachin to...
One can only get, right? Either number 4 can get or number.
Even
ABD.
Dhawan also got it briefly.
No. Yeah, Dhawan had it.
Dhawan had it briefly as well.
Did Rohit also have
No.
it?
No.
Rohit didn't
No,
have it.
Shikhar Dhawan, I don't think so I've had it.
Got to check.
I'll check.
Got to check. Ashish, they're saying even a draw from this position will be like a loss. I do agree for India. They had all the aces going their way. They had everything going their way. If it's a draw, and that will then point out to the fact that why did you pick a weekend bowling lineup?
Absolutely he did.
Yes, he did. Shikji had it, yes, absolutely.
Mr. ICC.
Mr. ICC indeed.
No, please check that photo once. Because if you write some other player's name with the same bat, you will get images of that as well. Yeah, because
let's
it
go
did
to
that.
the
See?
normal. I can't see it.
I got for somebody else also.
Aha.
So
Okay.
it might look very similar.
It might look. Yeah, let's see. I think he might have. He might have. Let's see.
No, but not on this website. Will you find
Sure.
that? Of course.
Okay. Yeah, then he would have. He was typed for his batting partner, and
He can.
was
This is
also seen with the same.
Wally Hammond, I may say. Okay. Go to the other comments, Pawan. If
he did. Yeah.
He did. Okay, so Adi Sekar. This is what I was saying. Okay. Washington is a very good batsman. He must be in the team. But Kuldeep can be in for Nitish Reddy. But then you're
Can't go
playing
either
3
se
spinners.
But this is again can't go either se khicho ya udhar se khicho.
No, but what he then means is that you play Nitish Reddy as a pure batter in place of Sudarshan. Nitish
But
Reddy-
There is no place for Reddy, he says.
He's saying there's no place.
No, then you play
Yeah.
Sundar as a pure batter, and not as a spinner.
But then,
You know-
3 spinners.
So, but then Shashwat, the thing will be, because you get a bit of bowling from him, you're now willing to look past a batter who had scored you a century at the MCG and had very gritty couple of knocks at the start of the series as
Batters
well.
who have hit centuries over here, they have been sent back.
Yeah. See, this is what Abhishek
Arshit
Kumar...
Rana is back.
No,
Yeah.
didn't he go? Wasn't he,
He
let
was-
out from the squad?
Yeah. Yes,
I'm saying that's why I'm
he was
asking. He's
released,
back now.
I
He
thought
was
back.
released.
I thought he's back.
No, he was
No,
released.
I'm saying back to Delhi.
So Abhishek Kumar is like very confident. He's saying this bowling will win you this test match. Because he believes in England self-destructing far more than the Indian bowlers working hard to take wickets. That's what he believes. But then he points out to a worst case scenario. What if Kuldeep takes 0 wickets and 0 runs. Because you remember the one time India did play 3 spinners was Lords 2018. But overcast, green wicket, 3 wickets. That I don't know what the brains trust were thinking at that point in time. Kuldeep obviously struggled 9 overs. I think he just bowled and picked up no wickets for 44 runs.
8 overs, I think.
Yeah, 9 for 44. Yeah, 9 overs for 44 runs. But then
Yeah, he went wicketless.
the Kuldeep conundrum. I mean,
In 8 years, the man's played only 13 test matches. It's a travesty. Which can only happen in Indian cricket.
which can, I mean, that's the problem, surplus to the requirements.
Yes.
Because he couldn't play when Ashwin and Jadeja
If
were
an
there.
Ashwin also was surplus to a requirement when you're playing away.
Yeah. But in Australia, South Africa wouldn't play 2 spinners. Honestly.
Yeah, but you couldn't have played Jadeja and Ashwin both.
You couldn't have. And they trusted Jadeja's batting and fielding far more than Ashwin's batting and fielding. So that's why this was the thing. And go up, Pawan, please, if it's... Okay. Ruchir. Okay, let's take Vishwanath Srinivasan. Washi in place of Thakur was vital today. 1 wicket there would have rolled out our batting. See,
Who will take the wickets?
there is a lot of support for this. I think I would rather say that it's a very myopic view because, as you said, who will take wickets? Only time will tell on day 4 or day 3.
No, tomorrow you will get a lot of answers.
But whatever turn I have seen now, Vishwanath, it is very slow turn. Maybe Jadeja might get some purchase. Washi, he did well on those dust bowls. But whether he'll do it here can happen. Can happen, but then you've not played 2 spinners in a very long time in Edgbaston. Although you did play in 2018 also. You picked Ashwin and you did pick Jaddu. I think I'll have to check that out. But yeah, let's see. Tomorrow is the key. If your spinners don't do well, then you can't have a Washington Sundar for Lords. I'm sorry. It needs to be some other better spinner then. Ruchir, I feel Prasidh has more of a temperamental issue rather than a skill issue. He cannot bowl a line and then consistently, which is prerequisite of a decent test match bowler.
You know, for the second test match, while this one's yet to be completed, and I remember he gave you those couple of wickets in Leeds as well to just offer you a glimmer of hope. But I think it is a bit of an issue. I noticed that in Leeds and today as well, you could see, you know, you need to be metronomical at times. You need that maiden over to come once in a while, or you have, you know, 4 balls exactly be pitching at the same place and be getting you the same sort of result. But with him, if 3 balls are going perfectly or 2 will go right, the third one will be off the mark. And I think in this match as well, so far whatever 7 overs, 5 overs that he's bowled, I think I saw shades of that yet again.
Yeah. Metronome, don't mention that name because it's Metronome Glenn McGrath. Yeah. And it would have been very interesting how Glenn McGrath would have managed in this baseball era. I think he would have had success.
Of course.
Even then.
Yeah.
Because plugging away off stump, in cutter, the off cutter that you'd bowl at 130.
Used to be a huge fan of the man.
That's why I can proudly say I share a birthday with one of the greats of the game. Yeah, Pigeon and I share a birthday, February 9th.
Pidge.
Yep, let's go up a bit. There is one more.
Have you been to his academy in Chennai?
No, but I've had
not his academy. I think
MRF
it's the
Foundation.
He's a consultant.
Yeah, he's a regular visitor.
But I have interacted with a great man.
Lovely.
It is BCCI's only.
Yeah, I've interacted with a great man. He and Ryan Harris I've interacted with, and they are wizards with bowling. Although
Did you ask them why they were so mean to the Indian team?
I did ask Glenn, but then I said, well, it was all the competitive spirit that we all had, and nothing was ever we wanted to cross the line. But then I asked him, but Sachin shoulder before wicket? No comments, mate. No comments. So Glenn's a brilliant chap.
For the man that he was, he was very uncharacteristic of him to be doing the kind of sledging that he used to do.
But it was effective. Yeah. He backed himself. I'm predicting final. And he would deliver final, yes. But he would take out the best in the business. I mean, Lara, Tendulkar, Callis, everybody. So that's why Pigeon, if he's listening to this, big fans here of you. So Adi Sekar is saying, Jaddu, Washi are better batters than regular batsmen. Don't consider them as bowlers. They are half bowlers in England conditions. But then boss,
them as batters, no?
Then you can't take 20 wickets. This is the conundrum that we all are facing. So, last comment shall we take? Rahul Dravid Vinod who's saying, perfect tribute to Test cap number 269 by Gill. Yes, even Harshit pointed that out also. Prasidh has bowled 9 spells across the 3 innings in the series and has conceded a boundary in the first over in each of his last 7 spells.
Very close observation.
Wow. That's the problem with Prasidh Krishna. So yes, it's been a very attritional day too with
This is also a reminder for everyone. The ones who think that, again, the ball doesn't change much. He was looking so good in white ball cricket. And since he displayed good temperament over there, see, this is where you need that control.
Correct.
This is where test bowlers find it difficult to switch from ODI cricket to test cricket. This is where professional athletes find it difficult.
That's the thing. And Prasidh hasn't played in England much. And Nikhil also pointed out that yes, finding the right lengths in England takes a lot of time. So yep, tomorrow we will be joining you to see whether India can capitalize on this particular, if you look at it, the situation that is there. Can they get a big lead? Will our weekend bowling lineup take wickets on a consistent basis?
Weekend or weekend?
Weekend on a weekend.
Okay.
Your wordplay, I know. You're too much on that captain bit in that way. So yes, let's see whether India can continue to dominate in Edgbaston. I certainly believe they can. Let's see whether Prasidh can step up. Will Sundar and Jadeja deliver? So let's see how that goes. So from me, Harshit and Shashwat, it is bye-bye, good night, Nandri, Vanakkam, Shubhratri, Shabba Khair.
Eat your vegetables.
And don't ruffle your mother.
Don't forget your drill.
Yes, and join us tomorrow. And by the way, check out more videos on Sports Today, which has been done. Plenty of stuff that's come. So like, share and subscribe, folks. Bye-bye.